Hi folks, this is Tony for aminutetomidnight.com. I hope this short video will be a bit of an eye-opener to you about some things that are going on in the world. I'm sure pretty much everyone listening will be familiar with Revelation chapter 13, where it talks about from verse 16 to 18, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. And the King James Version says in their foreheads, by the way. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. I hope to show you in this video just how rapidly so many pieces of technology are coming together, which I believe are going to eventually and ultimately lead to that 666 mark of the beast system. And this is not to engender fear, but just to show people what is going on in the world today. Folks, no one can deny that we live in a digital world where computers are used for just about everything, where we have connectivity with just about everything, and where smart devices control just about everything, and that is just in the early stages. It's going to get far more controlling and invasive than anything we've seen yet, and there are people behind the scenes, powerful people, that want control. It's more for them about control than it is about gaining more wealth than they already have in their opulent lifestyles. They want control. And that is why cash is being spoken of as being bad, and governments want control. Governments want to be able to track and trace everything, where they could eventually pretty much tax you into oblivion if they don't like you, or worse, they can cut off your ability to buy, sell and trade entirely if you speak against the system or are a dissenter or refuse to go along with a dystopian New World Order, for example. I'm just going to play a short clip from Aaron Rousseau, interviewed by Alex Jones shortly before his untimely death.
So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew. He's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. He used to come to my house a lot. We'd have dinner, we'd talk, and he'd tell me about business investments that he'd get involved in, or they would help me with this business investment or that business investment. And was I interested in joining the Council on Foreign Relations? I used to say to him, what's the point of all this? You have all the money in the world you need. You have all the power you need. What's the point? What's the end goal? And he said the end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society, to have the bankers, the elite people, the bankers and some governor controlling the world.
I wonder how many of you are aware that there is an alliance committed to improving lives through digital identity, and it's called ID 2020. At Davos, Switzerland, the World Economic Forum in 2018, a 2020 alliance, which is a private-public partnership committed to improving lives through digital identity, announced that Microsoft, Mercy Corps, Hyperledger, The UN International Computing Centre and Accenture became partners in an alliance called the 2020 Alliance. Microsoft donated $1 million to the effort, but it was the Rockefeller Foundation that launched the ID 2020 Alliance with an initial grant. Now you can see on the alliance2020.org website that the founding partners were Accenture, Gavi, Microsoft and the Rockefeller Foundation. There's subsequently more general partners, but those were the founding ones. And according to the ID2020.org website, this is critical for accountability and governance, and that it will be persistent, something that you get when you're born and it remains with you for life, this digital identification. In other words, Big Brother, the government, can track and trace you, and just like Aaron Russo warned when he was told by Nick Rockefeller that they will have, or they want to have, the ability to be able to switch off your ability to buy and sell, should they so choose. And of course the Bible warns us in the book of Revelation that this is coming as well. So this is from Microsoft Central Windows. Microsoft, the ID 2020 Alliance, Universal Digital Identification and you. Last year, Microsoft joined ID 2020, a global alliance whose goal is to create universal digital identities for everyone. Now, this was written in February 2018, so last year would have been 2017. Participation in the modern economy, the ability to buy and sell, attain employment, healthcare, social services, and more are virtually impossible without a digital identity. In May of 2016, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, ID 2020, an alliance of governments, non-profits, academia, over 150 private sector companies and the 11 United Nations agencies collaborated on how to provide a unique digital identity to everyone on the planet. According to the Alliance's governance material, by 2030 it aims to have facilitated the scaling of a safe, verifiable, persistent digital identity system consistent with the Sustainable Development Goals agreed upon by the United Nations. Its short-term focus toward that goal is the development and testing of the best technological solutions for digital identity and working with governments and other entities for the implementation. And we see that the United Nations in 2015 made a global commitment to provide a legal identity for everyone by 2030. With global connectivity and using blockchain technology, and consumers to have a seamless and secure digital experience. In its announcement confirming its position as a founding member of the ID 2020 Alliance, Microsoft shared that it, developers and alliance partners would be collaborating on a blockchain-based open-source identity system. This system would allow interoperability of people's apps, products and services, cloud providers and other blockchains and organizations. And it's all about our global community and economy. The Alliance 2020's goal to provide a universally accepted identification system for everyone on the planet. And it's very interesting if we go right down to the end. As more and more transactions become digital in nature and are built around a single global identification system supported by Microsoft, the question of who will govern this evolving global community and economy becomes relevant, especially, now note this, since non-participants in this system would be unable to buy or sell goods or services. And by the way, I find it very interesting to note that the executive director of ID 2020 is Dakota Gruner, and she has here connections including Ted Turner, Mr. Eugenicist Ted Turner. And In May 2018, the Alliance for ID 2020 announced some new additions to their board of directors, and they included Dr. Seth Berkley, CEO of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, Kim Cameron, the architect of identity at Microsoft, Blythe Masters, CEO of Digital Asset, and David Treat, managing director and global head of Accenture's blockchain practice. Biometric ID is certainly rapidly becoming an important part of commerce and other parts of our world. And if we look at this article very quickly from Planet Biometrics called Biometric Payments Set to Go Mainstream in 2019, it says in here, credit and debit cards will begin to feel outdated. Major players like Visa and MasterCard are already working hard to bolster our reliance on them, working on fingerprint scanning cards. But technology is likely to leapfrog plastic cards altogether by enabling our biometrics to be directly linked to our accounts in 2019, allowing purchases to be authorised just by having those biometrics verified. In 2019, there will be a proliferation of payment apps and wallets launched by brands, but there are always risks of data breach and biometric hacking, such as this article in Mobile ID World says. It's a timely warning in the wake of recent academic research suggesting that a number of fingerprint authentication systems could effectively be spoofed by AI-generated fingerprints that emulate highly common fingerprint features. Even highly sophisticated biometric authentication systems such as Apple's 3D facial recognition system has been proven vulnerable to more elaborate hacking efforts. That article mentioned AI and its potential role in all of this. Well, this is an interesting article from Yahoo Finance. Robot that thinks for itself from scratch brings forward rise the self-aware machines. The rise of self-aware robots has become a major step closer following the invention of a machine capable of thinking for itself from scratch, scientists have said. Engineers at Columbia University claim to have smashed one of the biggest barriers in the field of robotics after a mechanical arm, which had not been programmed with any instructions, began performing practical tasks after just a few hours. The team said that this is the first time a robot has shown the ability to imagine itself, thereby working out what its purpose is and how to perform it. So the rise of AI is also increasing, and to a worrying level, really. You can see potential dangers in that. And if you couple AI with a global surveillance state, well, look at the potential nightmares. Look at China, for example, with its 200 million surveillance cameras, and its social credit score, and everyone is monitored to the max, and they can use that monitoring against you in terms of employment and all sorts of other persecutions that they can imagine in a totalitarian governmental system. Now, if you add the power and communication ability of 5G into this mix, it becomes even more potent. We can see here an article, satellite operators, analysts and industry observers remain optimistic that space-based communications will play a significant role in connecting 5G devices. But of course, there are major health concerns as well with 5G. 20,000 satellites for 5G to be launched, sending focused beams of intense microwave radiation over entire Earth. This is by John P. Thomas. The total number of satellites that is expected to be put into low and high orbit by several companies will be 20,000 satellites. The effective radiated power of the 5G phased array antennas in phones will be 10 times more powerful than 4G phones, and no one will be free from exposure. In addition, 5G beams of microwave radiation will be received and transmitted from new computer equipment, household appliances, and automobiles. Stationary equipment such as Wi-Fi hubs in homes and offices will be permitted to use microwave beams that are 15 times stronger than the signals from 5G phones, or 150 times stronger than 4G phones. Along with the moves in artificial intelligence, you also have transhumanism. And if you haven't heard of it before, Singularity, which is the hypothesis that the invention of artificial superintelligence will abruptly trigger runaway technological growth, resulting in unfathomable changes to human civilization. Which brings me to the Singularity University, preparing global leaders and organizations for the future. The Singularity University is a global learning and innovation community using exponential technologies to tackle the world's biggest challenges and build a better future for all, which basically incorporates artificial intelligence, robotics, digital biology, and so on. And the Singularity University community includes entrepreneurs, corporations, global non-profits, governments, investors and academic institutions in more than 127 countries. And they are talking about even transitions and what it means to be human. One of the founders is Ray Kurzweil, who is an avowed transhumanist. And look at who the sponsors and so on include for the Singularity University. Deloitte, Google, and many other high profile names are included in that, and also UNICEF, which is the United Nations, a part of the United Nations. But it's no surprise that Google would be a part of the Singularity or a sponsor of the Singularity University, because Ray Kurzweil has been employed by Google as the Director of Engineering since 2012. In another article here it says Ray Kurzweil predicts that technology will end nation states. Countries are over. The age of individual countries is over, says futurist Ray Kurzweil. The Google-employed futurist talks about how technology has already started to merge the world into a single global culture. We're building up a world culture, a world legal system. Nations continue to be powerful, but I think they are going to continue to get less influential, Kurzweil says. One of Kurzweil's most famous predictions is for singularity, which is when people will merge consciousness with artificial intelligence that has superhuman abilities. He suggests that singularity will happen in 2045. At that point, if people across the world have all merged minds with AI, it's likely our understanding of nations will change entirely again. Also folks, take note, International Monetary Fund suggests cryptocurrency could replace fiat currencies, and central bank digital currencies could have a legitimate role, says IMF's Christine Lagarde. So they basically told you when they collapse the current financial system what it is going to be replaced with. And by the way, I find it also interesting that this article in Breaking Israel News, Tel Aviv skyscraper, remake of Tower of Babel or preparation for Third Temple. One of the largest real estate developers in Israel reveals plans for soon-to-be tallest building in Israel that looks surprisingly similar to images of what the Tower of Babel may have looked like. Topping out at 91 stories and reaching 1,150 feet towards the heavens, it's estimated that the spiral tower will take 6 years to complete, and at an estimated cost of 666 million, not 665 or 667, but 666. Very carefully chosen number. So the purpose of bringing out all these things are about how the Mark of the Beast technology is developing and so on, and we move on towards that. It's not to engender fear or hopelessness, but rather it's to show you that if these things are happening, then it proves that all of the Word of God is true, not just the bits regarding the Antichrist. If you believe those bits and we see all that coming to pass, the whole counsel of God as found in the Bible is true. And in 1 Peter chapter 1 it says, all flesh is as grass, and the glory of man as the flower of the grass. The grass withers and its flower falls away, but the word of the Lord endures forever. So don't forget that Jesus, if he is your Saviour, trust in him, trust in God, because he still has a plan and everything is going to that plan. Now don't forget to visit aminutemidnight.com, and if you want to donate to help us keep this running, that'd be great too. aminutemidnight.com, you can find all our videos and so on there, as well as articles. So that's it. I hope this video was of some help to you.